Most players lose games they should have won. Not because they're bad, trust me, I'm not hating on you, but because they don't know these little arena tricks. If you're watching this, you are already one step ahead. Today I'll show you the smartest moves for every arena, how to trade better, outthink your opponents, and climb faster than 99% of Clash Royale players. So, let's get started. Arena 1 isn't about strategy or perfect decks or even winning every match. It's about learning how Clash Royale feels. To be honest, my biggest tip here is just to hit the battle button. You'll get out of these arenas by simply playing. Don't stress about losing, every match teaches you something. Watch how troops move, notice how fast Elixir fills, just try to get a proper feel for the game. Something else that will be useful is to upgrade cards using your gold. Gold isn't rare and you'll be getting plenty of it, so upgrading cards helps them get stronger and helps you unlock new features from the XP points you gain. And that's pretty much it. Keep your deck simple and focus on just playing more games. You'll climb naturally. Oh, but don't spend your gems. You can get way more value for them later on. Arena 2 is still very much like Arena 1. Just keep playing and you should be fine. However, if something happens in a match that confuses you, like your troop dying way faster than expected or an enemy push somehow crushing your defenses, check the battle log afterward. You can tap on any card to see exactly what it does and what it's weak against. That little preview is super underrated, and it helps you understand why certain interactions play out the way they do. This is a wonderful tip that you can keep using throughout your entire Clash Royale journey. You also don't need to switch decks every time you unlock a new card either. Stick with what you've been using for a bit and just swap in one or two new things to try what you want. It's useful to keep your giant in because he's a reliable way to deal damage. Also, try to join a clan as fast as you can. In a clan, you can request cards for free, and you can even compete in clan wars for some great rewards. Arena 3. By now, you've probably gotten used to seeing the giant, and maybe you've noticed something weird about him. He completely ignores your troops and just keeps walking straight toward your tower. That's because he only targets buildings, which makes him dangerous if you're not ready. You can't distract him with a knight or skeletons, so the trick is to stack some damage behind your defense. Things like Mini P.E.K.K.A. or Musketeer work great while your tower helps out. This arena also introduces the second air card, the Mega Minion. If you haven't noticed yet, Minions and Mega Minion can't be touched by most ground troops, so if you don't have something that can hit air, you get shredded fast. Archers, Spear Goblins, or even Musketeer are super handy here. Anything that can reach the skies. And if you find it difficult to play your troops at the right time, you can also use something like arrows or fireball to take out anything attacking your troops. And if you're able to hit the tower as well, that is a nice bonus. The key takeaway for Barbarian Bowl is understanding targeting. Some troops go straight for buildings while others attack what's in front of them, and some don't even touch the ground. Once you get that, defending starts to feel way more natural. If you're unsure about how a card behaves, you can check their stats by tapping on them. Under the section Targets, it'll tell you if it targets buildings, ground, or ground and air. Arena 4. By this point, you've probably started noticing that placement actually matters. Dropping troops randomly still works sometimes, but now it's all about where you play them. One of the best habits you can learn early is using the middle of the arena to defend. When you pull enemy troops toward the center, both of your towers can help out, not just one. That tiny difference makes your defense way stronger, and it also gives you more time to react if your opponent supports their push. You'll start unlocking a few heavier hitters around now as well, and that's where this skill becomes even more important. As pushes get stronger and more expensive, good placement starts deciding whether you survive or get 3 crowned. It's not about fancy tricks yet, just learning how to make the most out of the arena space you've got. Arena 5. Now we're getting into one of the most important cards in Clash Royale, the Hog Rider. He's kind of like a faster, lighter version of the Giant. Both go straight for buildings, but the Hog trades health for speed. That means he gets to your tower much quicker, and if you're not ready, he'll take a good chunk of it before you even react. If you're struggling against him, this is where buildings come in. Cards like Cannon or Bomb Tower. These are perfect for distracting the Hog, since he'll always charge forward to the nearest building he can target. Placing them near the middle of your side is key. It not only pulls the Hog away from your tower, but also forces him to run further, giving your own tower more time to shoot him down. Learning how to deal with Hog Rider teaches you something that applies to every fast win condition later on. It's not always about matching speed with speed, but about controlling where they go. Once you understand that, you'll start defending way more confidently. Arena 6. Now things start to get really fun. This is the first time you'll unlock epic cards, and they're usually a bit more unique or powerful than what you've had so far. But really quick, before we get into this, consider subscribing. I promise it'll help you reach higher trophies, and you'll also learn some cool history about the game. Alright, the standout here is P.E.K.K.A. Massive health, massive damage, and one of the strongest single-target troops in the game. She is perfect for shutting tanks down like Giant, and if she connects with a wizard or musketeer, they are gone instantly. But here's where you start learning the difference between single target and splash damage. Single target cards like P.E.K.K.A. or Mini P.E.K.K.A. deal huge damage to one troop at a time. Splash cards like Wizard or Baby Dragon deal smaller damage but to multiple enemies at once. That's why P.E.K.K.A. is amazing against one big threat, but terrible against swarms like Skeleton Army or Guards. You'll also unlock the Witch here, who can spawn skeletons to distract and use splash damage to clean up swarms. A perfect example of balance between both types of damage. If there's one lesson to take away from this arena, it's that you can't just rely on raw strength anymore. Every card has something it's great at and something it's awful at, so start thinking about how your cards cover each other's weaknesses. Arena 7. Congratulations! Hitting 2,000 trophies is a big deal. Did you know back in Clash Royale's early days, this was actually the highest arena in the game? So if you've made it this far, you're officially past the just learning stage and starting to play real Clash. This arena introduces two of the strongest cards you have seen so far. Prince and Balloon. Both can destroy a tower fast if you're not ready, but they demand completely different types of defense. Let's start with the Prince. His charge attack can wipe out almost any troop in one hit as it deals double damage that he usually does. The best way to stop him isn't with a single tank, but with a swarm. Cards like Skeleton Army, Guards, or even Goblins are considered swarm cards because there are multiple of them. They surround him and stop his charge to prevent it from connecting. Once he's stuck swinging at tiny troops, he loses a lot of that power. Then there's the Balloon, which is one of the scariest win conditions for new players. A win condition, by the way, is a card that can reliably deal damage to towers. These are usually cards that target buildings like Giant, Hog Rider, and, well, of course, the Balloon. It flies straight at your tower, drops a bomb that hits hard, and even explodes when it's destroyed. Since it is an air card, ground troops can't touch it, so you want at least two cards in your deck that can hit air. For example, Minions and Wizard make a great combo. Minions are fast and cheap, while Wizard adds Splash to deal with any support troops behind the Balloon. Arena 8. Welcome to Frozen Peak. This is where you unlock the Cannoneer, your first tower troop, but honestly your Princess Towers still do the job better, and if you're struggling against the Giant Skeleton, use Swarms or a building like Inferno Tower to stop it early. The key is to keep that bomb far from your tower. One wrong placement, and it's gone. Arena 9. Jungle Arena is where things start to get spicy. You unlock Poison, which is like a fireball that spreads damage over time instead of hitting all at once. Fireball is great for instant value, clear a bunch of troops or damage a tower quickly. Poison takes longer but controls space, slowly wearing down troops and towers while blocking areas. Knowing when to use each one can swing games. You'll also see the Goblin Giant, basically a giant with two spear goblins on its back. He's faster than a regular giant and punishes poorly placed troops because the spear goblins chip away while he tanks. Oh, and yes, the Barbarian Hut is in this arena, but honestly just don't use it. It's one of the worst cards in the game and just is not worth your time. Arena 10. Hitting Hog Mountain is a big milestone. The stakes feel higher and the threats get more dangerous. One of the first scary cards you'll see here is Elite Barbarians. They're fast, hit hard, and can punish even small mistakes. The good news? Their weakness is swarm cards like Skeleton Army or Goblin Gang. Drop them at the right time and the Elite Barbarians become much less threatening. Also, you'll unlock the Golem, which is basically a giant on steroids. Huge health, massive damage, but expensive. If you try to drop it without backup or elixir support, you'll likely get punished. The key here is patience. Learn when to defend and when to punish. Just know that if your opponent uses this card, they will have very little elixir to defend, so do with that information what you will. Another card worth mentioning is the Tesla. It's like a cannon that can hit air troops and can hide when not in use. That makes it incredibly versatile against both ground and flying pushes. Tesla teaches you another lesson. Sometimes positioning a building in the right spot is more important than the card itself. Drop it in the middle and you can pull troops while your Princess Tower helps out. Arena 11. Welcome to Electro Valley. And wow, this is a big deal. You are finally unlocking legendaries and they completely change the way you play. Suddenly, Mega Knight can jump in and wipe out your pushes, Sparky can blast through your tanks, and Inferno Dragon melts defenses faster than you can react. The good news is that you have tools to fight back. Zap is your friend. It can reset Sparky or Inferno Tower, giving your troops a chance to survive and deal damage. And if you're lucky enough to unlock the log, it is the perfect answer to that pesky goblin barrel that's been giving your tower headaches. This arena is where matches start feeling serious. Mistakes are punished hard, and one bad push can cost you a tower. The key is adaptability. Learn the legendaries, understand their counters, and always have answers ready. Mega Knight, distract him with swarms or cheap troops. Sparky, reset with Zap. Inferno Dragon, same deal. Keep a Zap or distraction handy. Electro Valley is the point where you start thinking ahead. It's no longer just dropping cards. It's about planning around threats and protecting your win conditions against the most punishing units in the game. If Mega Knight bothers you, just know you're becoming a real Clash Royale player. Arena 12. Welcome to Spooky Town. This arena introduces the Firecracker, and yes, she can be annoying. Her long range and splash damage make her great at chipping away at your troops and support units from a safe distance. The easiest counter is arrows, but if your arrows are under-leveled, a well-timed fireball can do the trick instead. You'll also notice that chip damage becomes more important here. Cards like Fire Spirits or Princess can slowly wear down towers or distract troops before they reach your side. Elixir management starts to matter a lot. You can't just dump cards and hope for the best anymore. Watch out for small swarm troops protecting bigger units. They can completely stop your pushes if you ignore them. Learn placement timing. Even a small delay can let a Firecracker or Princess hit your tower while your troops are out of position. Spooky Town is all about paying attention to details and thinking a few steps ahead. Every little chip, every tiny spell starts to add up. Master it here and you'll be ready for the tougher arenas ahead. Arena 13. Rascal's Hideout is where things start getting really interesting. You unlock some new powerful cards like Bandit, Electro Giant, and Lava Hound, all of which can swing a game if you're not prepared. Bandit is fast and can dash past troops to hit towers, so counter her with swarm cards or distractions. Electro Giant is tanky and zaps anything that hits him, so you'll want heavy single-target troops or buildings to stop him before he reaches your tower. Lava Hound is the first true flying tank. Slow but deadly, so make sure to include air-targeting units like Minions, Wizard, or Musketeer to take him down before he drops his lava pups. The main threat usually isn't even the Lava Hound, but the cards behind him like the Balloon or Inferno Dragon. Inferno Tower is a very good counter here. You also unlock the Royal Chef, so think of him as a weaker version of a Princess Tower. He won't do as much damage on his own, but his special ability lets you level up your troops over time. This can give small pushes more value if you play patiently, but don't rely on him as a main win condition. The key takeaway from Rascal Hideout is these new cards force you to adapt your deck and counters. Whether you're defending or pushing, understanding their strengths and weaknesses will make the difference between winning and losing. Arena 14. This arena is where things start getting serious and a little chaotic. You unlock some game-changing cards here: Lumberjack, Executioner, Elixir Golem, and Night Witch. Lumberjack is fast, hits hard, and drops a rage when defeated, which can supercharge a push if you're not careful. The Executioner is amazing against swarms with his spinning axe. Place him correctly and he can take out minions, skeleton army, and way more in one shot. Elixir Golem is like a slower, tanky win condition. It splits into Golemites on death, which can overwhelm if ignored. He's only 3 elixir, but gives the opponent 4 elixir when destroyed, and Night Witch spawns bats while attacking. Great for pressure, but fragile, so protect her from spells and splash damage. Here's a tip. Here's a tip outside the battlefield that can make a big difference. Donate regularly. It's free, it gives you extra XP, and it keeps your clanmates happy. Every bit of XP helps you level up faster and climb arenas more smoothly. If there are some cards you really want yourself, you can keep them of course, but generally speaking, you should donate. Serenity Peak is all about timing and resource management. These cards are powerful, but knowing how and when to use them and having a steady flow of XP from donations will help you avoid getting stuck here. Arena 15. At this stage, you're now halfway to 10,000 trophies. The most important card in this arena is by far the Tornado. Why? Activating your King Tower completely changes the game. Once it is activated, the King Tower starts shooting like an extra defensive tower, essentially giving you an extra cannon every match. You can drag in a Hog Rider towards your King Tower like this. A lot of troops can be dragged to the King Tower, and once the King Tower is hit for the first time, it becomes active and starts defending automatically. And Tornado isn't just used for that. You can also use it to take out skeletons or bats. Get creative with a splash card like Executioner or Wizard. If you don't have Tornado and your opponent is using Firecracker, well, here's a trick. Place a troop next to your Princess Tower towards the middle so that her shots hit your King Tower. It is a bit of a timing puzzle, but once you get it, you can still activate your King Tower without needing Tornado. Mastering this mechanic is huge. Every match where your King Tower is active is a match where you're already a step ahead defensively, and it makes punishing enemy pushes that much easier. Arena 16. Arena 16 introduces Champions, the strongest cards so far. So unique and strong, in fact, you can only have one in your deck at a time. Skeleton King collects souls from dying troops and can spawn skeletons around him when you activate his ability, great for swarm decks, but you need to time it well. Golden Knight has a dashing dash. He charges through enemies, hitting everything in his path, perfect for aggressive pushes or cleaning backline troops. Both are game-changing, but the key is timing and positioning. Use Skeleton King to control the battlefield and Golden Knight to punish poorly placed units. Arena 17 is where things start getting sweaty. You unlock Archer Queen, Mighty Miner, and Boss Bandit, all powerful win conditions with unique abilities. Archer Queen is strong at range, and her ability lets her become invisible for a short time while dealing extra damage, perfect for punishing big pushes. Mighty Miner tunnels across the arena, ignoring troops in his path, making him great for surprise damage. Boss Bandit dashes like a normal bandit, but hits like a truck. She is truly a scary card to deal with. Guards are a safe bet against her, but you'll oftentimes still need more. I also want to talk about events. If there's ever an event going on, something like evolution shards, make sure to participate. Evolutions are extremely valuable and hard to get, so these events are big. Also, try completing the pass for 2 wild Evo shards. It is always worth it. They give you an edge on unlocking evolved versions of your key cards. This arena is all about refining your deck and timing. Knowing which card to play and when, plus getting those evolution resources, separates the good from the great. Around here is when you can start looking for a deck archetype. Think Logbait, Beatdown, Hog Cycle, try them out and see what fits you best. Arena 18. Here, predicting plays becomes crucial. You're no longer just reacting, you want to anticipate your opponent's next move. If you see they keep using barbarians to take down your Hog Rider, use your Fireball on their barbarians the moment you think the drop will come and your Hog Rider has a clean path. Prediction wins games, and investing in cards that reward this skill pays off. It's risky, but sometimes you need to predict to break through and take the win. This is also where the Monk is unlocked, and guess what his ability is all about? Predictions. Well, not entirely. You can take out and reflect Musketeer or Dart Goblin shots, but if you want to get fancy, the Monk can have some insane plays. Arena 19. At this stage, advanced mechanics start to matter more than raw card levels. 2 of the most important skills are card cycling and elixir counting. Card cycling isn't just about playing your cheap cards quickly, it's about knowing exactly when your key cards will come back into your hand, so you can time pushes and defenses perfectly. Elixir counting goes hand in hand. By keeping track of how much elixir your opponent has spent, you can predict when they can and cannot defend. For example, if they drop a giant in the back, 5 elixir, and then spend 3 more on a support troop, you know they only have 2 elixir left. That is the perfect window to punish with a fast Hog Rider or a spell for maximum value. Decks are much faster here, and the wrong move can cost you a tower. Every push you make needs a clear purpose. Don't throw cards around randomly. Even small trades add up over time, giving you an advantage if you consistently play smart. Mastering these mechanics here sets you up for pressure plays, prediction, and counters in the arenas above. Arena 20. Arena 20 is where you start facing bad matchups. Decks that naturally counter yours, well, you have been facing them, but this is the time where we fight back. Great players don't just accept losses, they practice those tough matchups until they can find ways to push through. You don't need to grind for hours like pros, but if you can consistently win unfavorable matchups, you've officially leveled up. Another tip for this arena, use your gems wisely. Global tournaments cost only 500 gems, and if you can reach 10 wins, you'll earn a huge haul of rewards, including a legendary King's Chest. Participating in these tournaments not only gives you strong cards and gold, but also helps you practice under pressure against a variety of decks, improving your overall skill. Arena 21 is where smart pressure makes the difference. It's not always about dropping a huge push. Sometimes a few cheap troops at the bridge can force your opponent into tough choices. Do they spend elixir to stop it, or let a little bit of damage through and save for defense later? Also, don't panic if your first hand is weak. Sometimes it's better to wait, observe what your opponent plays, and react accordingly. Timing and patience are just as important as card strength here. Small, well thought out plays add up over the match and can give you a consistent edge. Arena 22 is all about knowing your counters and making every interaction count. Small, precise plays can completely change the outcome of a push. For example, a perfectly timed Ice Spirit can fully stop a skeleton barrel. A Hunter or Bowler can shut down a Goblin barrel even if your Log or Zap is on cooldown. A Snowball combined with tower damage can completely take out a Wizard, giving you free value without spending that extra elixir. These interactions are essential because at this level, every elixir counts. Understanding how to combine your cards with tower damage, timing, and placement lets you maximize efficiency and survive pushes that might have otherwise overwhelmed you. Mastering these small tricks gives you a significant edge and sets you up for success in the higher arenas. Arena 23 is where the game stops being about basics and starts being all about precision and timing. If you thought elixir counting was important before, now you need to track your opponent's cycle. Knowing whether their key counter is in hand or out of rotation can completely change your approach. Arena 23 matches are battles of patience and psychology as much as mechanics. The players who consistently track cycles and anticipate evolutions can create unstoppable pushes and outplay opponents even if the decks are evenly matched. Arena 24 is all about perfection. At this level, even small mistakes can cost the tower, so every decision matters. One of the most important things that you can do is study the meta. Look online at what top players are using and try to run proven meta decks rather than experimenting with off-meta cards. That said, your card levels still do matter. Even the best meta deck will struggle if your key cards are under-leveled, so use your strongest, highest level cards to maximize your advantage and commit to mastering a single deck rather than trying to spread yourself thin. At this stage, success comes down to tracking cycles, counting elixir, making purposeful plays, and leveraging your card levels. Play with intention, and every card you drop should have a reason. That is what separates good players from the truly elite. But what's truly elite is this video right here. Every card at its absolute peak power. Go watch it right now. I'll see you there.